And we welcome you into Highlights. My name is Jim Strawn, host of the television program Highlights from the Heart of Our Community, is brought to you through a collaboration between Jim Strawn and Company, HD Media, and the Media Center. And if you're a regular viewer of the Highlights program, and we certainly hope that you are, you know how much you love to focus on those grassroots organizations, sometimes charitable, sometimes for-profit, just anybody in any organization doing outstanding work, great work, to make our beautiful state of West Virginia and our Kanawha Valley and our city of Charleston a much better place to live, learn, work, and to play. And on today's Highlights program, we're going to feature an organization that's been doing that and more for 129 years. It could only mean Blenko Glass down in Milton, West Virginia. Blenko Glass, the glass factory, been down there blowing glass for 129 years, doing a phenomenal job. It's just a true treasure. It's an art treasure for the state of West Virginia, and they're really a treasure worldwide. We have Blenko Glass throughout the entire world. They have a very special program that they're working on right now, the Apprentice Program. So we're going to talk all things Blenko. We're going to talk about the Apprentice Program. We have some wonderful footage from down at the Blenko Glass factory where their site manager took us on a little bit of a tour. We've got some studio guests. We're going to be talking with folks from the West Virginia Department of Economic Development and the Apprentice Program. So lots of good insight, lots of good information coming your way. We hope you'll sit back, relax, and soak it all up. To help us get started talking all things Blenko, I turn to my right and I welcome into the program Dean Six. Dean, how are you?
I am excellent, Jim. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. Now, you're the Vice President with Blenko Glass.
I am, yes, sir.
Very good. Alex Burdette. Alex, my friend, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing good. We met last week. We were down getting some footage of you guys with the Apprentice Program, right?
Yes, sir.
And you are an apprentice with the program there at Blenko, right?
I am.
We'll come back and catch up with you in just a minute. Dean, I want to start with you and just really kind of set the table here, kind of put the ball right on the tee for you. Blenko Glass, been around, as I mentioned at the top, about 129 years. Talk about Blenko Glass and what it is and what it means to our state.
129 years in
Yes.
a few minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay. West Virginia's history is almost always told from the perspective of coal.
Right.
And we don't realize how significant the glass industry has been for over 2 centuries. Blenko is one of the surviving 470 plus factories that we once had all over the Kanawha Valley as well as the northern part of the state.
Over 400 factories at one time?
476. Not at one time.
Yeah.
That's
All
over
over
200
time.
years. Yes.
Think about that.
That's
Not many left.
4.
4 of us.
So, and we're the largest, and we're a shadow of our former self. The industry has largely disappeared, but we're still there and still making great glass.
And our factories in Milton, West Virginia.
Downtown Milton.
Right downtown Milton, down there by all the little league fields. Everybody knows
Yes.
where that is. If you know where the Pumpkin Festival is, you know
Yes.
where Blenko Glass is, right?
Right.
I think you have about, we were down there last week, Dean, 60 or 65 employees now.
Yes, sir.
As you mentioned, that maybe is a far cry from maybe some yesteryears, right?
Yes, sir.
But talk about some of the roles that people may have down there when it comes to the gatherers and the master blowers and who does what down there.
It's a process based on the very old European guild system, where you come in at the very least skilled person and work your way up. It takes time. In some cases, historically, it took decades to move up through the chairs, and you would come in as a mold holder. Would be the.
Yeah, I think so.
You literally manually operate holding one of our wooden molds to open and close it for the blower. And then over a course of time, there's 6 chairs you would work up through, 6 stations. And if you're persistent and dedicated, then ultimately you would be a master blower or a master finisher.
Now, as the Vice President of Blenko Glass, I believe you're the only VP that we have down there, and you've been there about 6 or 7 years or so, right?
Yeah, a little over 7.
Let's talk about, you know the history of Blenko. You've written a book about it. You've been there long enough. We've been around, like I said, 120-some years. What is the allure? How does Blenko continue to do what they do, continue to ship out worldwide, continue to have all these orders come in, continue to be a great place to work, continue with this amazing art? What's the allure of Blenko Glass?
Lots of things. Lots.
What do you think?
129 years is a first feather in your cap because it just says really loudly, we're still here.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been doing something right for a long time. Trust us, we're good. Secondly is our ability to play with color and light. Yeah. Other people in the world make glass. But a lot of people make crystal glass, or they buy their colors from somebody else who's a chemist making the color. We do it all from scratch. It's kind of like your local hometown bakery. We start with the basics, build it up, and go from there. So if you love home cooking, we're the home chefs of handmade glass.
I love it. We're gonna check out a video a little bit later, but I think we saw some of the samples of the colors. There's well over 1,000 different colors, and we begin with the finest sand on the planet, and we're going to see a video about that a little bit later. But I want to turn over here and bring Alex into the fold. Alex Burdette, you're an apprentice.
Yes, sir.
So Blenko Glass launched an apprentice program, and we did some work with the Department of Economic Development. We're going to be checking out and talking with Dave Lavender in the second segment. But this apprentice program, you're an apprentice. The apprentice program, talk about the apprentice program, the length of it, where you are on your journey, and maybe what brought you to Blenko Glass. Why is this so sexy to you? Why you like being in this business?
Well, honestly, it's incredible. It's hard to put into words at times. I had no experience beforehand. I used to work at the Capitol and just kind of couldn't take that boxed mentality of sitting at a desk and doing that all day. And I had gotten to know Dean through that actually, and called him up one day and he's like, yeah, come on down. And it started with that.
How long ago was that, Alex?
I've been there for about 3 years now.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So the apprentice program usually runs 3 to 4, even into 5 years sometimes, right?
Yeah,
Talk about
the
that journey.
apprenticeship program takes about 3 to 4 years to get up to a gatherer's level, and that position is the one where you're with the pipe in the furnaces, kind of digging it out, putting the glass where you need it so you can take it to the blowers and the finishers and really get it right. I did that for about a year. Like Dean said, you start off holding mold and just carrying stuff into the annealing oven. You learn how to stick up after that, which is when the blower finishes the piece, you put a little pipe on the bottom and have to transfer it, and that's how you learn how to take the weight of it and balance and turn the pipe and kind of start learning the heat levels of it. Then you start learning bit work, which is little bits of gather glass so you can put on handles or lip wraps or just bring a little extra color on it. And now I'm in a blower's chair, and I love it.
So you did make your way up. In 3 years, you've gone from a gatherer, kind of the line, the beginning stages, and now you are in the chair, you're a blower?
Yes, sir.
So we didn't see you get to blow the other day, but you're considered a blower now, right?
I think a junior blower.
A junior blower.
Safe.
There's master blowers. You're not the master level yet.
Yeah, I've got a long way.
Because some of
for
those
that.
master blowers, and we'll talk with Dean about that when we see a video a little bit later, some of those master blowers have been there 25, 30, 35, almost 40 years.
The guys I'm learning from have been there every bit of 30, 40 years. They've been doing it longer than I've been alive, and it's honestly an honor to learn from them. I've learned a lot from them.
I've been down there more than once. I was just down there recently in preparation for this show. But Alex, they just make it look like it's so easy.
They do.
It's unbelievably not.
Yeah, it's not. Even now, I've had a few years of experience in it, and I'm learning every day. And if I'm struggling with a piece, which definitely happens, I can walk up to them and talk about it. And they like to kind of show off a little bit and be like, it's just like this, and whip it out real fast. But then they'll sit down and really talk to you about it.
Yeah, I love that. We're talking with Alex Burdette right now. He's going through the apprentice program with Blenko Glass, and of course we're talking to their VP, Dean Six. Dean's been there for a few years, and he's actually the Dean of Glass in the state of West Virginia, Dean Six. We had a chance to catch up with some of the folks down at Blenko Glass. We talked to Dave Wirtz. Dave Wirtz is the site operations director down there, and here's about a 6 or 7 minute video. We're talking to some of the apprentices. We're learning from Dave Wirtz about the apprentice program and how it begins from the molten glass and how we get a finished product down there at Blenko Glass in Milton, West Virginia. So we're going to take a look at this video now, and we hope you learn a lot, and we're going to get the reaction from Dean and Alex after this video. Here you go.
So over here we're making our 384 water bottle. Around us as well are multiple production processes. We're making mushrooms, sun catchers, and all sorts of crazy stuff right now. But today's the main focus are our apprentices. So everybody here that you're looking at has been here for less than 2 years on the hot shop, most about a year. They're varying skills throughout our different roles here at the hot shop, anywhere from carry-in to stick-up to bit to gather to finisher to blower. We actually have multiple people in different roles right now. So the name of the game of Blenko is flexibility. Some people can actually blow glass, but they're actually helping us gather right now. Being flexible and molding yourself to whatever the company needs to produce is really the name of the game here. Our apprentices excel at that. So gathers are the first step of making tableware glass blown products. So what we can actually see here in just a moment is somebody gathering. So we see young Anthony over here in a black t-shirt. He has a blowpipe in his hands. That blowpipe gets dipped into a furnace and literally just covered in molten glass. What gatherers do is insert a pocket of hot air into that glass that forms the bubble. The bubble is the name of the game around here. Where that bubble is on your pipe and the thickness and ensuring that weight is where it needs to be for the blower is the name of the game. So here in just a moment, one of our gatherers is going to bring over a molten hot glob of glass. Here he comes right now. So Anthony has dipped that pipe into the furnace 2 times, and he's bringing over a molten glob of glass that has a pocket of air in it right now. So Rain, one of our apprentices here, is a blower. And so he's using a hand tool called a block. We make those hand tools out of cherry wood here in-house. Rain is blocking or shaping that molten glass right now. So if you look really closely, you can see a pocket of air in there. The name of the game right now for Rain is to adjust and to shape that molten glass into roughly the shape of the mold that he's going into. Taylor over here, another one of our apprentices, is on the mold right now, as they say, getting ready to release and capture that thing just in time for Rain. So you saw Rain put a little extra puff of air in there to increase the shape. He'll smack that glass on a paddle here to shape it further. You see it's kind of hanging now, right into a mold, nice and quick. Taylor's going to squeeze that thing with a death grip. Sometimes they can use their legs if they get away with it. So that technique right there, forcing Rain's breath down into the bottom of that glass, and that mold, and that glass in that mold is going to sit for a couple seconds. So again, everything is based on temperature and timing. It looks like she's just kind of waiting, sitting around, maybe waiting for something to happen. She's using her eyes to judge the color and intensity of where the energy is in the glass. So she's judged it, ready to be taken out of the mold. If she releases that too quick, the glass will collapse. If she releases it too slow, the glass will crack. So again, everything is temperature and timing around here. So Taylor, one of our apprentices, just gave it to Tabby, who's sticking up for us today. Stick-ups take the glass from the mold to the finisher. So you'll see her crack off or roll off the extra glass waste on top, and she shoves the top of that piece right back into the fire.
I think this is a phenomenal opportunity for people in West Virginia to participate in our trade history and learn a really amazing trade and be a part of history. I think Blenko is going to keep expanding. I think they're going to keep bringing wonderful workers into this program, and they're going to keep this trade alive, hopefully for many more years to come.
That little furnace right there is called a glory hole. It uses natural gas and forced air to get the top of that glass screaming hot, basically making it workable again. When you see her come out of the fire, you'll see the top of that being red, orange hot again. Tabby, our stick-up, will give it to the next person in the line here, which is our finisher. He'll use his tool to pull the spouts on that 384 water bottle, and then it's ready to go into the layer.
I've been here for about a year and some change. It's a year and 3 months now. The journey has taught me a lot about myself and about glass as well. Biggest thing is perseverance and hard work. Sometimes it gets annoying and agitating, but pushing through that is really what brings this place to life and makes everybody feel accomplished by the glass, especially us apprentices.
John or Carrie will grab it with forks and carry that piece of glass. See how it's blowing out beautifully, great corners, great shoulders, and a great spout as well to be carried into our layer, L-E-H-R. That's an annealing furnace. Every piece of glass that Blenko makes has to be slowly cooled or slowly annealed.
The masters that I've worked with, like Randy Ryder, Justin Chafin, Charlie Chafin, all of them, they've taken me under their wing and they've taught me tips and tricks on how to make my job easier and help make their job easier. Passed on the old skills that they've learned to me so I can pass on to the next generation.
So what you're looking at here is our annealing layer, L-E-H-R. This chain moves very, very slowly. The glass takes about a 4-hour journey from one end to the other. There's actually a series of furnaces inside here. It starts at 1,600 degrees, steps down to 600 degrees, and then goes down to room temperature. If we did not slowly cool or anneal our glass, everything would deconstruct or explode, depending on which way you want to position it. But everything has to go through this layer. Every piece of glass we make, or else it won't survive, and we can't ship it. So again, every piece of glass goes in every single time. So after all the chaos of the hot shops, between the batching, between the chemistry, between the multiple groups of 6 or more people working on any given shop, we get to take a look at our quality for the day. So this is everything that we've been producing since 6 a.m. And you can see our product mix of the day. So water bottles again, both in olive and cobalt. 418S small dimple glass. This is a classic iconic Blenko shape as well. So they've been in production since 6 a.m. That glass again takes a 4-hour journey, and you can see this chain move very, 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 very slowly. So what happens here, this is our quality control area. Each piece gets taken off in hand, again, all by hand, judged by color, by workmanship, how far even our shoulders, how round it is, our lips, all this type of stuff. So glass quality, workmanship, there's a lot that can go wrong with this stuff. But if we did it all right and everybody worked together as a team, it comes off as a beautiful first quality piece of glass.
Just phenomenal, fascinating. Dave Works, the site operations director there at Blenko, taking us through 6 or 7 minutes. We're talking with some folks here about the Blenko Glass and their Apprentice Program. Dean Six is their vice president, Alex Burdette, one of the apprentice working down there at Blenko Glass. And John, who we saw in that interview there, he wanted to impress with me after the interview, Dean, about how he said, I left this out. I just want you to know what a great family atmosphere we have down here, how everybody takes care of everybody. If somebody has a birthday or they lose a loved one, it's just one big 68-person family. And you could tell down there. It's just really neat, Dean, to be down there, I bet.
It's generation after generation of skills passed along, and often it is family. So it doesn't just feel like family. Everyone around you is modeling that, so it's a pretty good place to be.
I asked Dave when we were down there, but he didn't get the chance to do that on air, so I'm going to ask you. How many furnaces do we have operating down here at the glass factory?
It depends on how many colors we have under melt right now. Usually someplace between 7 and 9.
Okay.
Each furnace is a different color, so what we need right now would determine that and the physical ability of the furnace to be heated up. 2 factors, 7 to 9.
Alex, we saw a lot of different roles there that folks were involved in. Have you been involved with every one of those roles at one point or another? Is that how you learn?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, you kind of climb the ladder, and each step really does teach you a lot. And I've done it in different orders at times. And when you take a step back and look at it, you really can see the importance of why you climb the ladder that way. Like one trade flows right into the next, and it's pretty crucial to be able to learn and do it all.
Some of those roles don't look like they're much to them, but each one is intricate in the finished product. I mean, from the finisher and putting it into the little hopper and bending the water bottle back, and just everything, even the mold. I mean, it takes some skill and some know-how, right?
Totally, because like even though the mold just looks like you're sitting there and just like kind of holding it, that introduces you to the heat. And it also kind of shows you the pressure, because if you're not holding it hard enough, you're blowing into that and it will blow it open. And you have to work at it as a team on that with the timing, because if you close it too soon while the guy's in there, it will pinch it, and that makes a second. We don't want to do that. Carrying it in is your first introduction to the weight of each piece, so you know how much to expect when you're sticking up. Sticking up teaches you how to balance the piece, which helps with gathering. Gathering helps you set it up so you can like make a great block for the blowing. And got to blow it even so the finisher has the right material everywhere to really like keep it balanced.
Dean, we were talking earlier about some of the finest sand, literally fine sand, and all the colors that Blenko have. We have a short video here. There's no sound in it, so we're going to show you a little video of the sand that we use at Blenko, and then there's a room in there, and there's thousands of different samples of colors in there. I believe is that Little Ron's room?
That's right.
I forget his last name, yeah. Little Ron. So we'll show that video here, and Dean, if you can comment on that. This does not have any sand or any sound, but this is sand and color. Looks like one big vat, right?
Sand used to come by the train car, and that's sort of passed by now. It comes by tractor trailer, and it's blown into the factory, entire tractor trailer at a time.
Our colors, over 1,000 colors, right?
We have formulas for 1,300 and some odd colors.
Isn't that something? Again, when I asked you earlier what was so special about Blenko, that's one of the things that make it special.
Yeah.
The various colors that you can
Absolutely.
Mix. And it's not just getting some food color and mixing it all in there. It's a real chemical sort of a formula, right?
It's pretty much beyond my comprehension. I'm not a chemist.
Right.
But I'd only been there a very short time, and a gentleman came in who was making a large stained glass window. So he needed blue. And he's telling me what he wants. And I'm listening, and I think, okay, no problem, no problem. So we start showing him blues, and he has 7 colors of blue in the sky where Jesus descends.
Okay.
Wow. He was very picky about what those needed
7
to be.
different
So
blues.
we kept showing, but it makes sense because he's the artist, and basically we're providing the colors for his palette. So it's like providing, a Rembrandt his mixed paint, and that's why we need 1,300 colors.
I love it. We have another video. This one does have sound, and this is Dave Wirtz, our site operations director, taking us through how some of the master blowers and some folks that have been there a really long time at Blenko are making one of their favorites, the snowman, this time of year. So we'll take a look at that right now.
So what you're looking at right now, this is one of our pro shops. Man there in the gray sweatshirt, that's Mr. Perry Bays, one of the best blowers and glass workers here in America. Mr. Charlie Chafin there in the red shirt. All these fellas are 30-plus year veterans. So how he fills that mold is important. Top down and then whip it back to fill the head first, get the mass of the body down there. If he didn't do it that way, crease marks would happen, lap marks, and some other things. So that big mountain of a man is about one of the last few that I have that can whip that glass out like he needs to. They don't make them like they used to anymore. Paddling it out, make sure it's nice and smooth. The glass fills all the corners, little hands get filled. Terry's carrying in that snowman right now back into our annealing layer. Charlie over here is getting ready for another big gather of hot glass coming off. Here you go.
And again, folks, I want you to recognize they make that look amazingly easy. Alex, you worked with Charlie and Perry, right? They've been down there 30-some years. They make it look easy. You're learning a lot from them, but they're so amazingly skilled and masterful.
Yeah, it blows me away, no pun intended, every time I work with them. And honestly, they're very humble about it. They do not consider themselves artists or craftsmen. Most of these guys got a job when they were 16 doing manufacturing. So just the juxtaposition between how they feel about themselves and what they can do is really insane.
And Dean, when we talk about the skill level that they have, it's in the top 10, 20 people in the world. I mean, we just take it for granted, don't we? And we shouldn't.
We definitely shouldn't.
Yeah.
As what's got us into this apprentice program today is the fact that historically West Virginia had all those glass factories. We could simply go down the road and offer 10 cents more an hour to someone at Pilgrim and bring them to Blenko as already skilled labor. We can't do that anymore. That's not an option.
So that was going to be my segue into, that's why this apprentice program is so critical and so vital, so we can continue to do this for the next 120 some odd years, right? So,
Hope so.
I'll tell you what, folks, I'm going to look at the camera right now. If you're watching this and like Alex, you had no experience needed. Basically, you do not need experience. You need to have the wherewithal and the heart and desire and the passion and to be a part of something bigger than you. And Blenko is that. If you'd like to be a part of this apprentice program, you can write to email Alyssa Covert. She's the director of HR. Alyssa A. Covert at Blenko.com. Her email is on the screen. Her telephone number is on there as well, 304-743-9081, 743-9081. Reach out to her. Learn more, be more. If you want to be a part of this, there's opportunities at Blenko Glass to be part of the apprentice program. Now we're going to take another tour with Dave Wirtz, our site operations director. This is another thing that we learned while we were down there. Each one of the molds that Blenko Glass uses is handmade. What's his first name, Larry?
Daniel,
excuse me. Daniel is the mold maker at Blenko Glass, and Dave Wirtz takes us through how that process works. So here's that video on how the molds are made at Blenko.
So every year for West Virginia's birthday, Blenko makes a special edition piece to help celebrate the historical significance of that. So in 2021, we made a ramp. So this is how it starts. This is the pattern for said ramp. And what you're looking at here, this is the actual ramp body itself. So this is a 2D drawing with a center line here that matches the actual mold itself. So what happens is Daniel, our master mold maker, will come back through here, take this cherry log as is, rip it, take this center line, draw and sketch it out, And you'll notice that that pattern actually perfectly fits the inside of that mold. So what Daniel does is trace this out, gets his tools out, and starts chopping. Chop, chop, chop until this piece is as smooth as reasonably can be. This pattern spins in here perfectly so that the two halves match. Add some handles, add some hinges, and away we go. So this is a dry mold. It's been out of the tub for a while. When we actually have this in production, these are soaking wet. And then you'll see a steam layer right out. If we don't, the reason we use cherry is because it kind of acts like a sponge and it holds that moisture in. We don't want to burn these molds up. You can tell that this one kind of has. So this was our main production mold for our 2021 ramp for West Virginia's birthday. These get burnt out. So the more you run, about 300 pieces, give or take the size or the angles in the shape, will get burned out. We'll have to make new molds. So this is the original mold for the 2021 ramp vase that we made. Had a little leaf decanter stopper as well. Super cute. So that's the name of the game back here. If it's on an iron mold, it's going to be a wooden mold. Most wooden molds are actually symmetrical as well, so that glass actually spins inside to keep the wood from burning up. So fresh molds all the time for all of our special edition pieces, or an iron mold if we deem necessary. So mold shop here, again, another handcraft process at Blenko.
And Dean, I'm going to turn to you. One of the things that we learned while we were down there, all those molds handmade by Daniel, as you mentioned. I apologize, Daniel, for your name earlier, but Daniel is the mold maker. And all that wood is cherry wood. It has to be cherry, evidently. Is there a really good reason for that?
There's a really good reason. We want the densest wood we can get.
Okay.
Needs to be available locally. We buy logs, trees, from local farmers and citizens. They bring it to us. We literally have our own little sawmill, and we start from there. We want cherry or a fruit wood, and cherry is what works best, we believe, because the great density of the actual wood itself, the layers in are very tight, so it burns out slowly. Therefore, after we've carved it, we get the longest production run.
A true West Virginia art form, we have the glass, and we actually have the wood from West Virginia, the cherry wood. And like you mentioned, farmers or landowners, a cherry tree might come down and, hey, why don't you come and get this, and we'll sell it to you, you can have it or whatever you, and you use that for the molds. Now, that's another thing, Alex, I don't know as far as the apprentice program is concerned, but we need an apprentice to learn how to make these molds as well, not just blow the glass. Is that part of the apprentice program?
Absolutely. I know that they are working on that as well. I think they've even started working with a couple of technical schools on just wood carving and like the practice of hand carving it instead of using like CNC machines, because I think it's really important and special that we literally do it by hand the whole process. It's part of, I think, the magic of Blenko, and kind of like it, I think it's really important for just the culture of it all.
Yeah, I know we have the glass blowers down there, and we have more than one of them, and we need more. That's why the apprentice program is so important. But I think this mold making is at a critical point. It seemed like Daniel is making most of the molds.
Yes.
So we need some more Daniels, don't we?
We need. Historically, we've had one master mold maker.
Yeah.
And so yes, it's a legacy job. You start young, and we don't let go of you until you're
done. Till you're retired, like you're getting ready to do.
Until you're ready to retire or sneak away.
Speaking of which, happy retirement to you.
Thank you
You're
very
actually
much.
officially retiring here at the end of this year. I love it. Good for you.
Very happy to have been at Blenko, and it's been an honor.
You've been great for Blenko Glass. I tell you what, we're going to, Alex, do you have a parting shot? We're going to watch one more video. Do you have a parting shot that I need that you want the audience to know? Maybe someone's watching us that were in your shoes 3 or 4 years ago, or just go, gosh, I'd like to be a part of that. Why should I do that, Alex?
Yeah, the guys in the video kind of talked about it a little bit, and it's so true. Blenko, and I don't want to sound like I'm over speaking with this, Blenko has fundamentally changed my life.
Nice.
It has allowed me to do things I never thought I could. It's like I literally have my glass tools tattooed on my arm. Like it has become something that is ingrained in me, and I hope to get to do for the rest of my life.
Something we haven't talked about, there's one shift that starts early in the morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning, and you go to about 2:30, 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And that's it for now, right? There's no second shift. That's the shift, right?
Yeah. There's been night shops throughout the history and whatnot, but it's 6 to 2:30, and I've never been a morning person, but I love it. It also gives you your whole day, and they're very supportive if you want to stay late and work on your own personal stuff, and it gives you a lot of time to do that.
Dean, let's talk about that. Is there hopes, or is there any talks about maybe having a second shift? If we have more master blowers, maybe we can work from 3 to 8 or 10 o'clock at night, 2 shifts? I don't.
Absolutely.
Because that furnace, one of the things that I did learn, that gas, the furnace, I think you said there's like 9 or 10 furnaces
Yes.
down there. Those are gas
Yes.
heated, and you don't turn the gas off.
No.
So we might as well maybe take advantage of it, right? It's a possibility.
It's a very challenging dance between having enough hot glass melted at the right temperature and ready to use,
Right.
and having the skilled laborers there to actually craft and shape it. So it's kind of like it must be in a kitchen. I keep making analogies to food and cooking. It must be the same in the kitchen, that when someone's there and wants their meal now, you've got to have it ready to.
I see.
It's same with the glass and the workers. The two have to line up. We are capable, ready, and wanting to add more employees, more shops, the teams we work in, and a second shift.
If folks want to learn more about Blenko Glass, you can simply go to their website, and it is www.blenko.com. Blenko, BLENKO.com. Blenko.com. Dean, I want to ask you one more thing. The business side of things. We're shipping worldwide. I mean, what kind of sales are we talking down there the past couple of years? How are we doing?
Immensely wonderful.
Immensely wonderful. I like that. And it employs lots of West Virginians.
It does. We had gone through a very rough time. The company had stumbled. The industry, as an entire industry, had just folded. Some of the giants like Fenton and Fostoria, so important to our state, just couldn't make the transition. For a number of factors, we're still there. So we have, in the last matter of years, because of these young folks, Dave Wirtz, Bryson Cutler, a number of other people there, we've turned the corner, and I think the future is bright after a good decade of really struggling.
Very good. We're going to watch one more video, and I want you to kind of narrate, maybe talk over that, if you will, Dean. These are some brilliant master blowers. I believe one of your favorite items down there, the mushrooms, are very popular. So, folks, when you go down to Blenko Glass, there's an area that you can, if you just want to visit, there's a viewing area. You can watch these master blowers from like 8 feet away and just watch the craftsmanship that they have. And I know a lot of people do field trips down there, and schools do field trips, and I used to do them when I worked in a former life, and I've been down there for these things. It's just fascinating, and being down there last week. But here's some of the master blowers, and as they create a very popular item at Blenko, the mushrooms. So yeah, we're actually filming this right there from the visitor center. That gentleman right there, I forget his name, Dean, but he's been Ray.
36 or 37 years.
Pushing 40 years. Look at him. I was also fascinated to learn that mold, that cherry mold, was made right there by Daniel, I'm assuming, right?
Absolutely, yes. Ray's very talented, very adaptable, just a typical of our workforce. It's a good, solid West Virginian, but also a great artisan. And they don't like that word.
They don't like the word artisan?
Not so much.
What do they consider themselves, Alex?
They work in manufacturing.
They think they're manufacturers.
Yeah, these are like some traditional West Virginia guys who are not artists. At least they don't say
they are. They are brilliant artists.
Insane artists.
Unbelievable.
We know that, but
I
they're
work.
just
Yeah,
not comfortable.
I work in a manufacturing plant. That's what they tell everybody.
Yeah.
That's something. So I think this is a mushroom, right? Being made here.
I believe it's what
We'll see the finished
big enough
product.
glass to make a mushroom, so yes.
See, here's another thing. I mean, he's molding that with tools that just making it look like, okay, I'll put this here. I'll just put a little indentation here. I'll roll this over here. It'll make itself.
That's after the 5,000th or 10,000th mushroom. You kind of have a feel.
And when we were there were fans there from, they were from 2 and 3 hours away. People come from all over just to watch for the day and make it a day.
We see folks, it's not unusual on a weekend to see like 17 different states represented.
In a day, yeah. Well, just get off the interstate there and head over.
Now that he's got his basic shape, he's going back to the fire to keep the glass soft, so the next step can then be executed well. So Donnie's the guy, also 30 plus years. Not normally his role, but I think he's here as an honorary mold holder because of his service.
Okay, the gentleman there with the mold?
Yes, he's usually a finisher. So Ray blows until he likes the feel of it. You see both steam and a little bit of the actual carbon burning out of the wood, just a little bit. He's turning the glass so it rides on that layer of steam and carbon, making a nice finish. And when he
there it
taps his
is.
foot, he opens the mold, and there's the mushroom.
There's the mushroom. Cutting off the end here a little bit. This is always pretty neat. He cuts it, but he doesn't lose the glass, doesn't lose the mushroom. Watch this, folks, at the end.
He's looking awfully serious, isn't he?
He
Yes.
always does.
And he does.
He
Takes it serious.
he takes it very serious, and he knew that he might have known that the video was on him, but he would look like that whether he was making it
Yes, he would.
yesterday or last week or next month.
He's dribbling a little water onto where the pipe and the actual objects are touching, and that will create a line for thermal shock. So in the second here, when he really wants, he's let it cool enough that he's confident with the shape and the form. Little scar there with the file, and then the wonderful.
But I'm fascinated. It doesn't fall off of the,
Oh.
what do you call that, Alex? The pole. What's that?
So that's a blowpipe.
The blowpipe doesn't fall off the pipe
Yeah.
until he wants it to fall off.
Exactly.
And he gives it a love tap when he thinks it's ready, gets it up, just like that.
It's
Yeah.
pretty magical.
And there's the finish. Oh my heavens! Again, oh my gosh! I was down there 2.5, 3 hours, and I got a little bit tired standing up because I'm coming off a little bit of an illness. But I think I could stay there all day. I mean, Alex, you do it all day, and it's just
Yeah.
fascinating every hour.
8 hours a day, every day, and I look forward to it
Yeah.
every day.
Dean, do you have a parting shot, something you want the audience to know about Blenko or maybe this apprentice program?
I do. I think that we've long neglected telling the glass story well in our state's history. Blenko is still there. Not only is it a great opportunity for employment and to puff our chests up and say, we made this in West Virginia, but it's a way to showcase something that once was a very prominent part of our culture and our state, and we're still here, still making stuff the same way. So it's like, come look at us, come hang out, grab it while you can, and thank God for the young folks who are our apprentices.
Thank you. Hey, Dean Six, VP Blenko, we appreciate your time here
Thank
today
you.
on the Highlights program. Very enlightening. Alex, I appreciate you too, buddy. Keep up the great work. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing, my friend.
Yes,
Alex
sir.
Burdette, our apprentice with Blenko Glass. And I'll tell you, we're going to take a little break right here one more time. A. Covert, that's Alyssa, A. Covert at blenko.com. If you'd like to learn more about the apprentice program, email her. Give Alyssa a call, 304-743-9081. We're going to take a short break, thank our sponsors and our supporters of the Highlights program, and then when we return, we're going to be joined by Dave Lavender. Dave works with the West Virginia Department of Economic Development, and he works with the apprentice programs throughout the great state of West Virginia. We're going to thank our supporters, and I'll be right back with Dave. Thank you, guys. And we'd like to take this opportunity to thank our supporters of the television program. Highlights from the Heart of Our Community is brought to you through a collaboration between Jim Strawn and Company, the Media Center, and HD Media. And our newest sponsor, special thanks to Banker's Life. There's no life like the Banker's Life. For over 140 years, Banker's Life has provided financial security to their clients and policyholders. During that same time, Banker's Life has helped change the lives of many of their associates personally, professionally, and financially. Questions? Do you have questions regarding Medicare and Social Security? Give them a call, 304-757-4134. Or if you're interested in a free review with a licensed agent or looking for a new career in the financial industry, contact Dennis Harmonson. Dennis.Harmonson, Harmison, at bankerslife.com. There's no life like the Banker's Life. And welcome back to the Highlights program. We do appreciate our sponsors and our supporters. What a great conversation with Dean Six and Alex Burdette. We're going to continue that conversation. We're talking all things Blenko Glass, been around for almost 130 years, and we're really kind of featuring and focusing on their apprenticeship program. Alex is going through that program. We talked to some of the other ones on our videos, Tabby and John and Jereb, and there's many other ones down there. And now, as promised at the top of the show, I turn to my right and I welcome into the program Dave Lavender. Dave, how are you?
Doing fantastic.
It's good to see you again, my friend.
Yeah, same here, Jim.
Now, you work with the West Virginia Department of Economic Development, and you work specifically with the apprenticeship programs throughout West Virginia, right? Not just the one at Blenko.
That's correct, yes.
So let's talk about the apprentice program that West Virginia is offering to some of these industries and some of these programs.
Of course. So West Virginia is a Department of Labor Office of Apprenticeship state. And so we have 4 apprenticeship reps around the state. And they work, of course, for the DOL, and they put in a registered apprenticeship, which is a kind of a time-tested, proven model, very much like the European model of learning something in a classroom and then putting it into play with on-the-job training. And so with the Department of Economic Development, we use our kind of heirloom training funds, our Governor's Guaranteed Workforce, to help companies kind of reimburse some of the costs for training a trainer, but also training the apprentices as well. So it works really good, like a little peanut butter and jelly there.
I like it.
And so we have, so I would say that the DOL works with a lot of different entities around the state, to try to explain to students and then to people who maybe switching careers of that apprenticeship is more than just plumbers and pipe fitters, although it can be that.
And so it's a national program, the Department of Labor you mentioned, so we get some federal funds to help us support this, is that correct?
Yes, so we have, the Department of Labor has Office of Apprenticeship. So across the U.S., they've registered about 1,400 different occupations, which is very exciting. So, it's kind of the new model where it's not just time-based, but also typically a hybrid, because we know that folks learn pretty quick. So it can be somewhat competency-based as well, these new apprenticeships. And what's great is that, like Blenko or, someone who has a very unique work environment, they can pick the kind of classroom instruction that they want. And so here in West Virginia, we do like, if a CTC is available, we do have learn and earn funds. And so they will get a 50% reimbursement if someone hires a college student from one of our West Virginia CTCs, which is a great program. Somewhat unique. Tennessee and only a couple other states have that. But we don't care where people get the training, where the companies do. So some of them, with a Toyota or a Clearway Energy or somebody, they may do a lot of training in-house, but then some may go out to the CTCs.
Well, speaking of Tennessee and this is a national program. What do you see on a national level, and how does that compare to how we're doing here in West Virginia? Are we keeping up with the Joneses as far as other states are concerned? Are we ahead of those states, or how are we doing in comparison to some of the other programs throughout the nation?
Yep, sure. So I've been involved with about in the last 3 years, we've been involved with Department of Economic Development, kind of like promoting apprenticeships in our state and letting companies know about those. And we're sort of at a point in West Virginia, sometimes we may be 30th or 40th in something. And we know a couple things. One is that we're number 3 in the country for the average age of citizens. So we got Maine, Vermont, us. And so across the nation, we have a silver tsunami. We got more than 40% of the U.S. workforce is going to retire in the next 10 years.
Goodness.
So we know that it's mission critical, as we know at Blenko, to really get the next generation of craftsmen in and to train them. And so we have to do it. And the good thing is, in West Virginia, we've always been a strong union state, and it's still a bulk of our apprenticeships, but we have a great DOL Office of Apprenticeship here. So we've went from 8th in the country of apprenticeships per capita when we started promoting to now we're 5th. And we have about 5,700 active apprentices across West Virginia. What's great is that we've just scratched the surface. And so, that's not counting our Grow Your Own program that the West Virginia Department of Education, we were the second state to put in that teacher apprenticeship. So we're not even counting those apprentices. So we're really going to see here in the next 10 years, apprenticeship become the model for really upskilling our workforce and saving some not just heirloom factories, but a lot of different companies and small family businesses that don't have a line of succession.
Very good. You were sitting in here in the studio, the Highlight Studio, when we were talking to Dean and Alex, and I know you've been a part of this Blenko Apprentice Program, and I know you've been down there a few times. Seeing what you're seeing, hearing what you're hearing, how's Blenko doing with their apprentice program?
Well,
is it a model for you guys, or is it working the way it was supposed to?
No, absolutely. You know, I as a longtime journalist got to write about Blenko for years, and got to interview some of the designers, Winslow Anderson and a bunch, Joe Philip Myers, and a bunch of those folks, Wayne Husted, and it's just very exciting. And I've known Dean for years, and it's just wonderful. When we go around the state and we think of the things in West Virginia that we hold so dear, the companies, and we would just hate ourselves if we hadn't worked and did everything we could to make sure that these companies continue and that they're strong and that they can, against all odds, kind of really make it. And so to see this happening at Blenko, to see the as Alex was talking about, just the energy in the hot shop on the floor, and just see the teamwork, the family atmosphere within the whole system, and that kind of atmosphere that Dean's created, that's just we couldn't be happier. And that's what we hope to be able to. We can't fix everybody's culture, but we do know in West Virginia that something that truly works is a master craftsman, somebody who's great at their job, whether they're a meat cutter or they're putting on solar panels, teaching somebody and giving somebody a job, who comes in and they're able to mold them and teach them the company way. We know that works.
We're talking with Dave Lavender. Dave is with the West Virginia Department of Economic Development. I'm going to give you his number. If you maybe have a question for Dave, I don't get a chance to ask him, you might want to ask him. Call him at 304-932-2045. 932-2045. Now we're going to show a video here, some more videos that we have from last week's tour at Blenko Glass. This is some employees doing some finishing, and we're getting ready to do some shipping and handling, and we talked to Dean a little bit about that, but we're going to show that video. Then I wanted to ask you why that video is showing, Dave. We talked about with Dean about 60-some employees are working down there. This apprentice program, do you think it is keeping West Virginians home? Do you think it's attracting people from across the land or maybe even across the pond to come and work in West Virginia, as we watch this finishing and shipping and handling video here?
Yes, absolutely. Apprenticeships they really have the baked-in diversity and inclusion, and because they give everybody a chance from the ground floor to learn, a long-term. It's a full-time job, so they get to learn on the job and get paid while they're learning, which is really essential. As college has gotten more expensive, this is a great way. And as short certifications become more important, we're seeing everyone from like IBM to Clearway Energy to Solar Holler to Blenko Glass, to Buzz Foods with meat cutters. Everybody do the apprenticeship model.
I wanted to mention that as we watch the video here, yes, now we make it from the finishing room and we're making it back into the shipping and handling area at the warehouse there, and we got a chance to watch the shipper here, the handler. You got to ship this stuff, you got to handle it so amazingly precise and precariously with how you put everything in there so it can make it all the way to Europe or Canada or California or Texas or wherever it is going. They do a remarkable job. But yeah, we saw about 6 or 7 cats, the cats of Blenko. I love that. They all and everybody was so unassuming. They're like, all the cats are running the place. The cats run the show, and there was lots of delicious looking cat food in glass bowls down there. But you can see here shipping the water bottles, one of the premier items that Blenko is known for. You've been around Blenko a long time. You mentioned you went over there and interviewed some people and used to write for the local newspaper down there. And you never get tired of going in there and watching this, do you, Dave?
It's something that it's like every time. It's like when you hear a great piece of music, when you hear a Willie Nelson song, or you just see something beautiful, architecture or sculpture, that's the feeling that you get when you look at a piece of Blenko Glass. It's a symphony every time you look at it, and that never gets old. And you can hear that, hearing Dean and Alex talk about it. It's really a beautiful thing to be around and to behold. You don't have to explain it when you see it. When you see something, beautiful and exquisite.
As we tape this show on December 19th, there still might be an opportunity for you to go to Blenko.com, get your Christmas item ordered, get it out there. I think they're still shipping the rest of this week. So Blenko.com is a good website to go to. And we're talking with Dave, and of course we talked with Dean and Alex about the Apprentice Program. You can learn more about the Apprentice Program by writing to Alyssa Covert. Alyssa is the HR director, acovert@Blenko.com. That is her email, Covert at Blenko.com. Her telephone number is 304-743-9081. There's her email, there's her telephone number. As our shipper and our handler gets the final touches on packing up, it looks like about 20 water vases there. Again, the colors are amazing. The fine sand that they begin with and the finished product is truly remarkable. They go through a lot of stations to make sure that the finished product is exactly 100% up to amazing Blenko quality, and getting shipped up there and getting ready to go to one of the states throughout America or maybe even another country. And as Dean said, they're doing amazingly well this year. We're gonna see one more video here. It's kind of a video after this one of the showcase.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you go into the visitor center at Blenko Glass, and that's where I'm always entered in. I know you can enter different places, but into the visitor center where they're selling their stuff. We're gonna take a look at that video, and that'll be kind of our parting shot here today. As we're watching the visitor center and seeing some of these finishing pieces here in the visitor center in the showroom, Dave, do you have a parting shot that you want audience to know about Blenko, about this apprentice program, why it's so successful, and if you're interested in doing it, please give us a call and get involved, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's you know, we love it. It's what makes West Virginia great. You know, passing on the heritage, passing on the good things, the things that are important, the people, you know, and the skills. And you know, we just never want to lose that. We never want to lose sight of that. And the fact that it's just so artfully done, you know, we just all feel grateful and blessed to be a part of it. And definitely say, like, any company that's watching this, you know, we can help your company create, help pass down that legacy and that carry that tradition. And so that apprenticeship is a great model for that. And so it's kind of getting back to the old way of doing things, but in a new way. So it's easy now. We can do it online, and so it's something for people to check out. For kids that maybe not sure what they want to do, they can stay here in West Virginia and apprentice in a ton of different occupations. So
as we look at some of this
exciting.
masterfully hand-blown glass from Blenko Glass in their showroom, and there's the West Virginia Department of Economic Development and Dave's number. You can call him if you'd like to learn more about the Apprentice Program. And then one more time for Blenko, if you're watching this and Dave's been talking about it, Alex, Dean, if you're interested or like to learn more about the Apprentice Program, being a part of the Apprentice Program at Blenko, Alyssa Covert, Covert at Blenko.com, 304-743-9081 is Alyssa's telephone number. What an amazing show we've had today, Dave. Do you have a final thought on the show? Just truly remarkable, right?
It really is. There's really just a story with every piece of glass, as we found out. You know, from the sand coming in to the wood molds. You know, to as you showed it going out the door.
Yeah.
You know, just it's really a great operation, man. It's
I
like
appreciate
we're really
you.
excited
It's
to be
so
a part
cool.
of it.
This was really cool.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dave Lavender.
Thank you so much for shining the light
Dave
on it.
Dave Lavender with the Department of Economic Development and the Apprentice Program. Special thanks to Dean Six, Vice President at Blenko Glass, and the apprentice down there, Alex Burdette, for joining us. Thank you to Dave Wirtz, the Site Operations Manager, for guiding us brilliantly through the tour of Blenko Glass. That is all the time we have for on this edition of Highlights from the Heart of Our Community. As always, brought to you through a collaboration between Jim Strawn and Company, HD Media, and the Media Center, and of course our special sponsor, Banker's Life. There's no life like the Banker's Life. Have a great rest of the December. Have a great rest of the 2022 year, and looking forward to a prosperous 2023. We'll see you next year right here on Highlights. Take care now.